I think podcasts like yourself and reaching out to platforms, I hope it gets to people so you can really start seeing the culture for what it is and not just sometimes what is portrayed as a wild party scene. You're just getting drunk, you're getting hammered, you're in the streets getting dirty. The cultural aspect of Jab Jab is nothing close to that. It's literally a resistance, a revolt against colonialism, against oppression, against enslavement. And remember, back in the day, during slavery and colonialism, anything of African descent was demonized, was seen bad, not good, negative. So the idea of somebody dabbing themselves in black to get even darker, you can imagine the disdain of the, oh my God, I can't believe they did that, So it just shows where it just shows, and black people were subhuman,
Yeah.
they were the devils, so it's a mockery of their belief system, and that's why you have all the horns and whatnot to really strike fear into what you already don't like or what you say we are human beings like everybody else.
So I'm here with Ian of Jambalasee Grenada. Your whole thing is trying to really push the real jab culture forward and to document it and to make sure that it can be preserved for generations to come, that we have like a blueprint or something to know what real jab is. Yeah.
Yeah, something you could reference, like all other established cultures, you have some level of cultural referencing. And I think we right now living in an age in which cultural referencing, is something that is, very attainable. So documenting and collaborating with national entities and also cultural groups and practitioners are like, gives us the blueprint to document, like you said, and so that generations to come will have something they could go to and feel proud of.
Yeah. One of the things that you were saying that I thought was really interesting is that you're kind of talking about your family history and connection to Jab
To the
Jab.
jab.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's gonna be the jab jab music. The jab jab music, I think that is the propeller, the gasoline for really spreading the culture of jab throughout the region and internationally as well. But in 1991, Moss International, they released Jambalasee Rule, which was a deliberate attempt for the for the songs of Juve Morning, the shells, the drums, and the spelling. They made a deliberate attempt to take that from the streets and put it on a record. And that's the first time in Grenadian history that was ever done. Needless to say, long story short, the song went on to win Road March in a week. And it was also nominated for the original Caribbean Music Awards in New York City. The song, besides that, the song set the foundation for what is now jab jab music. And after 1991, you see the rhythm mix head by Nodley Frederick coming in and really hold the jab jab reign maybe for the next 7 to 8 to 9, 10 years with their compositions like A Jab is a Jab, um, No Behavior, which is Suck the Bottle Head, if you also Papa Jerry Police, and again Nodley Frederick, who is the producer from Rhythm Mix, he produced All Woman Alone, which was the next big move for Jab Jab music when Tarpy actually infiltrated the world, and the rest is history. So again, you see a lot of the producers and the people who understands that the jab jab rhythm is the drums. The heart of the rhythm is the drums, is the three-in-one drums. I call it the Holy Trinity. It's led by the bass, the coupe, and the cutter. These drums have to be present for it to have a jab rhythm. So I think right now we're living in a stage where we need to have those things set in stone so that producers around the world, if you want to produce a jab track or jab rhythm, okay, okay, well, we have to use certain drums. The conch shell is integral to the rhythm, but it is possible to have a jab jab rhythm without the shells because the shell is an accompaniment instrument. So I think we need to really get that down pack so we could really, really solidify Grenada's claim to the origin of jab jab music. Not jab jab, because you could find facets of jab jab throughout any Caribbean island which once housed enslaved Africans, because it's an African tradition, a post-emancipation tradition. So I think podcasts like yourself and reaching out to platforms, I hope it gets to people so you can really, you know, start seeing the culture for what it is, and not just sometimes what is portrayed as a wild party scene. You're just getting drunk, you're getting hammered, you're in the streets getting dirty. The cultural aspect of Jab Jab is nothing close to that. Is literally a resistance, a revolt against colonialism, against oppression, against enslavement. And remember, back in the day, during slavery and colonialism, anything of African descent was demonized, was seen bad, not good, negative. So the idea of somebody dabbing themselves in black to get even darker, you can imagine the disdain of the, oh my God, I can't believe they did that, So it just shows it just shows, and black people were subhuman,
Yeah.
they were the devils, So it's a mockery of their belief system, and that's why you have all the horns and whatnot to really strike fear into what you already don't like or what you say we are. We are human beings like everybody else, So it is critical that right now we understand and we put some level of respect on the traditional Jab Jab. So hence Jambalasee Grenada, entity which documents and preserves Grenada's traditional Jab Jab with emphasis on the music because of the family lineage of Martin International, and how critical it is to really show the history and to be a part and to be alive in a time like this where we have the platforms like this to really showcase our culture to the world.
Wow, that's amazing. So when it comes to the actual jab sound, what are the critical elements of the jab
Drums.
sound? I know you said the drums, but we were talking earlier and you were talking about the exact drums. So tell us a little bit about the drums, and maybe, when we go out, we'll hear the real jab drum pattern.
Yeah, definitely. You can't be in Green and don't hear the real drums. So it's led by the bass, doom, 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 a constant doom, the bass, which is traditionally the biggest drum within the three drums, physically the biggest drum.
Okay.
So you can't miss the drums if you're on the streets every morning, or you're within some jab band. Then you have the coupe, book tick, book tick, book tick, book tick, book tick, smaller ones. Then you have the cutter or the mid range, tick 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 tick. Now these three patterns have to be playing together. That's what invokes the ancestors.
Okay.
That is the rhythm. Once you found the rhythm, you got it. So to build any jab jab rhythm, you have to be using those drums.
Okay.
You can't use what you feel like or what you want. The genre of jab, I think, has paid its dues. 91 to 2023. That's like how much? 33 years, 32 years. I mean, it's been around. And again, not only Jambalasee rule, but you have some mega hits coming up. I mean, you have Tal Breed and you have Big Red and them. What's Big Red's the group name? Claude 5, they had No Behavior. That went international already.
I think that's the one that Impulse yesterday was talking about. They did some
when we
sort of
touched
collab.
down, the whole place shell down.
Okay.
You have Skinny Bantan, Saltfish. That was massive. Then you have Tabri, Wicked Jab. And you have Lava Man's Havana. I mean, a lot of Lava Man's tune, Jab King, Terror Kid. So you have a series of Jab Jab tunes that transcended and reached out to Grenada.
Yeah.
So I think right now we ought to put some respect on the jab and understand and learn. Just like if you want to build a hip hop or a reggae, you go and you reference the culture.
Yeah.
You have to start referencing. So as Grenadians, producers, we need to really, really follow the pattern, the traditional aspects of the jab, before we can start fusing it, because it needs to be, the foundation needs to really be solid, secured.
Yeah.
So you could understand, hey, this is a jab. If I see the word jab jab in a song, that does not make it a jab song. It doesn't. You need, jab is drums. Drums is the heart of the jab.
Okay. And I think that's something that most people wouldn't know, right? So for me, as an outsider, somebody who's from Canada, somebody who's from away, when I see certain things, I just think, oh, okay, yeah, like, oh, they had the shell or they had this element, And one of the things sometimes I saw on your page is kind of like some of the misconceptions about jab or jab
many.
culture. So if you wanted to touch on maybe some of those.
Yeah, I'm happy you asked that question, because there are many misconceptions about jab jab, and it's many reasons why they have misconceptions, but there are major ones. And one of the major ones, besides lack of documentation, before you even get to lack of documentation, there was a deliberate attempt to demonize anything African. and that came from colonial rule,
Yeah.
and it was still passed down because although slavery was abolished um, in the 1800s, it's still the mechanism of control is still here today. So you have a lot of the beliefs passed down through religion, passed down through political systems, through societal systems that hey, Jab is wrong, Jab is the devil, Jab is demonic, Jab is no good, and this couldn't be furthest from the truth. But the sad thing is that it still lives today, and again, it was deliberate by the powers that be. So you're already fighting out of the gates. Yeah, and I was saying that these things were passed down through religion to anything colonial, because at the forefront, I mean, when you think back of the enslavement days, that is the biggest atrocity done to human beings. That's what I think. I mean, a whole race was just mentally, physically, spiritually, culturally just abused.
Yeah.
Not for one day or 1 year or 400 years. I mean, the amount of destruction you done to a race, that even in 2023 we have people still uttering nonsense like that because it lives on. It's going to take work like this and people to be conscious enough to see after the truth. But again, when it comes to belief and religion, which I think is one of the main issues here at Christianity, when it comes to jab, it's going to be rough to break the spell in a place like Grenada, where you have like over 90%, the people are some level of Christian belief. If you already predisposed to that thinking, it's kind of rough to change, but hopefully we could change. And so that's a major issue.
But even to expand on that, I remember when I was a child here in Grenada and I went to my cousin's church. They're from England, but they went to, I don't know what type of church it was here. And I remember the pastor was preaching and me and my other two cousins were looking at each other like, yo, what is this guy saying right now? Because he was talking about Juve and jab.
Oh, Lord. You're
And
putting
then-
fire on it?
And so when it was time for us to go home, when his mom got in the van, she said, so when I say you can't go, you can't go. Like, you're not allowed to participate in this thing at all because this is a devil
Exactly.
thing. Like, you're not
Exactly.
allowed.
Exactly, and that's that's in your lifetime.
Yeah.
And slavery was abolished since in the 1800s. So I'm just saying, it still lives, it still resonates. It's there's still a portion of Grenadians who still think that way of jab. But
Okay, so what about, for example, like one of the things, like let's really talk about, sometimes people will be like cutting off pig heads and stuff. I saw one time somebody cut off a pig head and was rolling it in a baby stroller.
Okay.
What is that?
Very good point. And again, I gonna go back to lack of documentation. When you have lack of documentation and lack of a foundation as it relates to a culture, anything goes.
Okay.
So when you see this nonsense, when I see it, I feel embarrassing.
Because that's not the real job.
Because that have nothing to do with the real job. But that is what you're portraying. You're portraying it in the music. You're portraying it in your lyrics. You're portraying it with the images that you send throughout the world. People doing the most outrageous nonsense and calling it jab. Oh, jab don't care, jab do this. I mean, jab don't care. Jab is born out of resistance of a culture, of a people. Jab is revolt. Jab is to stand up for your rights. Black African, Afro-Caribbean consciousness, Black Panther movement, Maroons. That is the lineage of the jab, and you here doing the utmost nonsense, and
trying to brand it as
and
jab.
trying to brand it as jab. That is the fight we have. But that is a spin-off, or that is a result of no cultural backing, because the people who actually knows the traditions, they are dying off. 2, nobody is engaging them. 3, the national entity should do more to really safeguard the knowings and the traditions. We're not having that. I think the new administration, from a few encounters, meetings, that they're trying to have database with traditional mass players, which I think is a must. And they're also putting together, I think, at the final stages of forming a traditional mass association, which we need, for many reasons. So when you see Juve Morning come and you see a lady doing the most utmost, a guy passing with a pig head in a Jordans, some just random stuff that has no relevance to the culture of jab, you want to cringe.
Yeah, what happens sometimes, I think, is that as the new, again, like you said, if the foundation is not strong, then anything goes, right? But I think what ends up happening is that this new culture becomes born where we don't know the real roots. So for example, in one of the
100%.
episodes, I made mention that, hey, sometimes some of the things some of these people are doing in these fests is a bit much, you know what
It
I
is
mean?
a bit
Because I should
much.
not be seeing a man lifting up a woman onto his face and we're talking about that. It's just
Yeah.
okay.
Like this
And
week.
you're right. And so I made that comment. But listen, when I clipped it for social media and I posted it on the page, people were so upset about that. They're like, "It's the fucking culture."
That's not culture.
Right. And that's what somebody said. So their Instagram page, maybe you'll connect with them, is Vintage Caribbean.
I know Vintage Caribbean.
Right. So Vintage Caribbean said this is not the culture.
Yeah.
This is hypersexualization
Yeah.
from based on da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But people are so used to seeing certain images
Nonsense.
that they start to believe that this is what the culture is. Just anything goes. You could do whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just free up.
And that I tell you, that is bothersome, because you as your own person should sit back and say, okay, I mean, how could my culture be based on that? I mean, seriously, which culture in the world is based on this nonsense? Come on. Where's the strength in that? Where's the unity? Where's the unity? Where is the substance in it? There
Yeah.
not. But that's what happened when powers that be made a deliberate attempt to wipe anything away from you. So you have no. Listen, a tree without roots. What's the name? Marcus Garvey. He have a quote. Don't quote me on the specific quote, but it's more or less saying, um, a tree without roots is something about not knowing where you belong
Yeah.
from. You need to have the roots, otherwise you could have the offsprings of this nonsense, this wild Juve party. There's nothing cultural, just getting scantily clad, getting dirty, getting drunk to the core. You have no clue what you're doing, what you said, what you do, and calling it jab. And that is the images that goes out. So when we came out with Jambalasee, it was a deliberate attempt to stick to just the traditional aspects of the jab. Make people understand, this thing actually has some level of substance. And not your random juves. One thing I hate, juves once a year. Juve is not every other Sunday morning you feel like. Juve is like Christmas. You ever see Christmas every week come to Christmas party in June, in July, in wherever? No. It's the same thing. It happens once a year just before dawn, after crème brûlée. You have to understand this thing has a regiment. It's not when you feel like. So all that too waters down the Juve, waters down the meaning of the jab. I don't know, man. We just need to do our parts, put the information out there. Hopefully the algorithm can pick it up, and some person who may be interested might click on something and say, hey, and go through, and the word starts spreading.
Where can people find all this information? Because one of the things that I always felt like is, how do I know what's true when there's so much information that's conflict? It's a devil thing. It's not. You know what I mean? But
No,
it's
you're correct.
what is true? Where do I go? Where do we go?
Books.
Which books?
A lot of post-colonialism books written in the Caribbean, also written by scholars overseas. I mean, I have a level of books that Jambalasee use as our verified facts, which I shared with you. I shared it a couple weeks ago because someone, which I call a troll, came on one of our feeds and say, hey, the information is wrong, we're reaching, it's not correct, Jab is the devil, look at the horns, down the line. And I just tagged them on the books. I say, you want this? This is the books we have.
I bet you they won't read it.
You see, never heard from them again. So there are books. There are books. You have to look for it. Again, you have to be a lover of the culture too. And again, a next thing to that, we go to the cultural practitioners, in which who have been lucky to be able to hand down. I mean, they've been able to receive some of the traditions from the forefathers and hand it down, and still today. But again, these people are at least 60 plus.
Yeah.
And sometimes they might want to play again. So one thing in knowing, but do they want to share? Are you taking it just to blaspheme the jab, or are you going to make it into something that, is going to be substantial? So I think we have a good relationship going with the cultural practitioners, you're going to see. And they are willing to share their story because they are seeing the nonsense taking place.
Yeah.
And the destruction of a sacred part of our culture,
right.
Through the nonsense. Again, I must say, I'm a producer, so some of the music, some of the people who are singing jab music, I mean, we need to.
Is there certain job concepts that should be sang in job, like real job songs?
Yeah, have an element present. Terra Kid is a guy that I like,
Mm-hmm.
because Terra Kid has elements of jab. He mightn't be singing on a jab rhythm, but he always represents some element. May it be a word he's saying, may it be a melody he's using, may it be a chant he's using, or something. He
That's the one that had that
identifies
song Black Power.
Black
I
Power.
like that song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You have to reference, and that's where we at. We have to reference cultural elements. So if you're building, I just, for us, we always use some element, and there's
Mm-hmm.
so much chance. If you go back to the same song, Jambalasee Rule, again, just listening to the lyrics, you know, the melodies in this is chance.
Mm.
I don't know if you know the song, but there's a part that goes, if the campaign in passing me yard, you wanna say how me mouth bad mouth, okay, don't pass in me yard. But that melody is a jab chant.
Mm.
Old woman, don't pass in me yard, your XYZ,
Mm-hmm.
big like a cocoa pod.
Mm-hmm.
It's just chance. And just taking the melody and make it into a different vibes, there you're bringing elements of the jab into the music.
Mm.
It's call and response,
Mm-hmm.
So use the elements, but for able to be using the element, you have to know the elements.
And we also have to have a database
I have
to
to have a
reference
database.
the
Yeah.
elements, because guess what? Not everybody's gonna go and do the research before they have to make the song, before
Correct.
they have to produce the song, before they have to represent on whatever cultural stages. So if there is the hub, Jambalasee Grenada hub, right? So we know, what was that thing? What's the truth about job? Jambalasee Grenada. Go to
Yeah.
their website. Oh, where can I get the job kit so I could do the you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like when I want to make the real job music, when I want to, have the culture produced and shown in the right way, I need to know where to go. And that was always my personal issue, is that I always felt like I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go.
Can't blame you.
Right?
You're correct. You're very, 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 very correct. That's one of the reasons we had Jambalasee Grenada, because of the ICH2 Jambalasee rule. It was only fitting that besides, just the music aspect, also bring out the truth about jab, because somebody needs to have the truth about jab. Otherwise, it's going to be a long, dark road going on a very hyper sexualized, nonsensical image, And again, the merchandising aspect of it have to be endorsed right now, because that's the world you're living in. If you look at hip hop, if you look at reggae, you have to have some level of merchandising, and you merchandise your culture not only for revenue base, obviously, but also to give it more branches to reach. You could wear the culture,
Push it.
you could push it, and again, that's the next reason. There's many misconceptions. One of the biggest misconception about jab is that you have to play with old oil, which is furthest from the truth. This thing is a post-emancipation masquerade. People were playing jab before cars came to Grenada. And I'm not sure where we went wrong by thinking this is the only avenue. It's not. I mean, through the years, you have soot. Soot is the burnt residue. You have molasses. You have charcoal. You have pigment. And when Grenada started to get roads and start to pave the roads, you have tar. And then when cars start coming to Grenada, you have old oil. But for some reason, we stuck on the old oil. And I mean, to be such an important ICH. Yeah, so for something as important as Jab to be a critical ICH or intangible cultural heritage, you cannot be asking people in 2023, you signed a treaty for environment and whatnot and safety, and asking people, one of your biggest tourism products, to be playing with a carcinogen. That's to me makes zero sense. So you have to go back to the days. You have to make it inclusive for all, because Spice Mass is an international festival. It's maybe the most trending Caribbean belt of festivals. Spice Mass. Every year from 2019, I mean, obviously you had COVID 20 and 21, but I mean, Sunshine, I mean, we had Carnival still, but I mean, we didn't have Spice Mass, but we had Carnival. When I say, I mean, Juve, the Jabs, we came out. But the Sunshine Spice Masses was massive. The numbers kept increasing. So you have global appeal. People are loving, they want the jab, they want the real jab, but it's critical that we have one, the information, two, we exhibit cultural job, three, we make it inclusive. So what we've done, we didn't reinvent the wheel, we just carried on a tradition of jab, which is the charcoal, and made it, available to anybody who wants a healthier alternative via the old engine oil.
One thing that I heard somebody say is that they're saying like playing Juve in old oil is like the biggest planned oil spill because then people go jump in the sea to wash off.
That's what I tell you. It's crazy that there aren't any positives for playing with old oil, because after you play Juve, you go to the seas, the streams, the rivers, any natural water source, and you wash off this stuff into our atmosphere, causing effects, marine life, the entire ecosystem life. We can't do. It's not something you do, especially in a world right now that is conscious, health-wise, environmentalized. I mean, environmental, issues going on. We can't do that. So it's critical that we really merchandise it properly. The helmets, the people who listen. There's only certain people that can make proper helmets, and these are the cultural practitioners, which we endorse and we collaborate with. We can't make 1 million helmets, because guess what? You wouldn't find 1 million cows or 1 million goats. Once we run out of real authentic horns, helmet done. It is not something that you could mass produce like that.
Okay.
It is a part of, once you have a helmet, you have like, I don't know, you have one of those things like it's timeless. It's something you pull out, like having a Christmas tree. You have it there forever. That comes out once a year. So you endorse these people. You give them a chance to make some money and still hone their skill and pass on this skill. So all this stuff is merchandise, which we need. Is not the selling out, is understanding and marketing. So it lives on. So people come to Green and they pay XYZ for a helmet. I mean, you have helmets and then you have posies.
What's posies?
Exactly. So posies is the iron metallic ones. If you realize with jab helmets, you have the traditional construction helmets.
Yeah.
This is the newest version of the helmet.
Okay.
Back in the day, you know what calabash is?
Yes.
All right, they used to play the calabash with the horns.
Oh.
Okay. And also they used to play with posies. Posies is like an upside down pot.
Okay.
Enamel, metallic. This is what, if you have on a posy helmet in Juve morning, well, you're an inch and jump. You're a real thing. You're tradition. You're an inch and jump. I mean, again, back in then, it's common among great houses. That's why it's very hard to find. If you have a posy helmet right now, you get gold. You get gold on. But the places you're gonna find like posies and stuff is in, like I say, in great houses. And again, it's very few left, if they have any, I mean, and whatnot. But you have one of those stuff, you have jab tradition right there. So again, understanding the paraphernalia used. So all that is much of that. It's jerseys. The music is critical. The music is the lifeline of the jab. So again, getting back to the music, we have to make sure that everybody has proper distribution. I could go on any standard music streaming platform and type in your name or your song and be able to access it. You get some cents back on a stream. Days of just going in the studio, releasing it here, and it plays for 6-8 weeks during the carnival season, and then the radio goes back to whatever a more diverse list of music. And you just there waiting, nothing. You might not everybody gonna fly to New York or Canada or the diaspora or wherever. You need to have some residual income. And if your song does good enough and have enough clicks on streams, or you push your track online. I mean, however, the point is, once it is in the algorithm, you're going to get some level of dividends back. It mightn't be $1 million, but you still get something, and I guess something goes. So we need to have that standard. I think we are doing a great job of that holistically in Grenada as a music jab / industry, but they have to be standard for any music produced out of Grenada. Okay. And also get into the copyrights. That's been what I love about Juvia's is the time where no matter what social or economical or educational or whatever platform or whatever vibe you belong to, Juve Morning is a great equalizer. Everybody playing jab.
That's what I saw. Somebody said, like, There's no man, no woman, just jab.
Yeah, but you need to go to the outer parishes. One of the issues with Spice Mass too is that, and I do understand why I have no problem with it, but Grenada is so small that having a centralized route, and again, let me go on record and say I do understand why they have a centralized route. Fair enough, it's a product, but you will find Grenada's traditional jabs in outer parishes, Juve Morning, St. Andrews, St. Patrick's. That way you go find a real community jab coming down into the city, not this truck jab, blocko jab they have in town. So that's why it's critical for us to come and display the jab in St. George's on a national stage. And for that to happen, you need to have policies that, okay, well, back in the day, Juve used to start early. Like, it used to start all 3, 2 in the morning, man, outside. When I used to go in PVC, I playing jab some since 3, 2 in the morning, I outside. But after I think they had cricket, they had World Cup of cricket in Grenada, and I guess through national policies for events and whatnot, they had moved to a 5 o'clock start because of security reasons. Fair enough, whatever. I ain't gonna fight that. That's cool. But for that to happen, for the jab to be represented properly, because again, I can't be walking into Spice Mass, the biggest, the most trending Caribbean festival. I walking into your official route, and I'm hearing amplified bass lines. That's madness. I need to hear your jab. Jab as a song. The song of the jab is why you so badass right now. That's why you're getting on, because the music of the jab. So I can't be walking into your festival hearing amplified bass lines. So what I'm thinking, and I keep lobbying for this since 19, but then they had COVID afterwards. From 5 to 7, no amplified bass lines. That's the time for jab. Jab is pre-dawn. Daybreak, just before dawn, So you need to hear the drums. You need to hear the chants. You need to hear the shells. You need to hear the chains dragging. That evokes a feeling in you could only feel when you hear it.
It's true.
Yeah. So we need to get that. And the band has to be the first band on the road. You can't go behind those big, powerful sound systems. You're dead in the water.
I like that idea.
You have to be.
What's the resistance you're getting with that idea?
No resistance. It's just that COVID came in 20 and 21. And 22 was the first one since COVID. So it was literally, getting your feet wet again, for lack of a better term. And then you had administration change in 23.
I saw that.
A different administration is in. And once you have any changes on a national level, it takes time for things to get back cranking again. So is just a work in motion. And I think that's something, hopefully the people who have the necessary powers, they could look into that and really see we need to showcase that, because already next year is going to be carnival from since January, because you have the anniversary, 50th anniversary. So it's mass from since January until Spice Bass. So Grenada is up. So hopefully a wonderful time, and the momentum definitely goes into Spice Mass, and we really put on a cultural extravaganza for the jab. We need to showcase it properly, along with the other mass, but like the Shortney and the Veco, which again are on same level of importance. But I think where the jab really took off internationally is again through the music. That's what really propelled. You need something to propel it, and the music did.
Why are there no Veco or Shotney songs? Is there?
They are songs which was inspired. Let me give you a few. Tarpy, right? Tarpy have a song, "The Grave, the Jail, and the Hospital." If you listen to that, you will hear the bells in the Shortney in that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's and they had may soul rest in peace, one of our pioneers, Tangela. He used to sing Indian tunes, but he had a few songs that had some Shotney influence. And they also have a music production company. I must pick them up, Island Traffic Entertainment.
That name's very familiar.
Yeah, so these are the guys, Linwell Patterson and these guys. These are the guys that brought you, maybe you might know the most popular of the songs, Gutter Rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was Wicked Jab, Lava Man Gutter. They built that rhythm. But they had a Veco inspired rhythm. Lava Man had one of the most popular tunes, and it was I think the name of the song is Calling Us. Doctor, Calling Us. That rhythm is a Veco inspired rhythm. Yeah. So But then again, is nowhere close to the reach of Jab,
Yeah.
because Jab went, international. So
Mm-hmm.
they have
Job went viral.
So they have one or two. There are one or two projects that still, have it, but you're correct. The Veko is a very interesting mass. The Veko song is, listen, you ever seen Veko
I've
in
seen
real life?
videos, not in real
Listen,
life, no.
Big man like me afraid Veko if I see Veko coming around a corner. It just sounds scary. The clogs. Remember they make the song with the clogs they have, and again the guy we're gonna meet tomorrow, Mr. Simon, he makes the boots for most of the people up on the western side.
Okay.
So these guys are so integral to the traditional mass that, God forbid that they pass, is gonna be a big setback for a lot of people. And again, these are the men you pass in the road, you have no clue who they are. These are the people that is the real living power behind. That's why I say we have to give them the flowers now, because they're very, very, very integral to the continuation of the mass.
Speaking of Veko, I saw in one of the video that I saw, the lady said, like, when you put a mask in your face, like,
Veko?
yeah, like it's not you anymore.
It's not you. You be who you want to be behind the mask. Veko, I feared Veko.
Yeah.
I wanted to play Veko a couple of years ago, and I should go back and play Veko. Never played Veko, but Veko is, and then you have Shortney. Shortney was my first love. I used to play Shortney before Jab, but when I say play Shortney before Jab, I never used to go nowhere. I just put on the clothes. I used to just put on the clothes to my grandparents' house, and just jump around the house with put powder and shit, But I loved Shortney. I still have a special place in my heart for Shortney. And then as I got bigger, because I used to be scared of Jab. Jab was scary because you used to hear them from a distance. Because remember, it's community bands that coming down into Grenville. So where I live, you have to pass some of the bands from Maribor, Lafayette on Tuesdays with a pass in front by house. And you have Sab. Sab is a critical. Sab is like a Lafayette. You have Sab, you have Bylands, you have Clambaye, Granborough. These so hearing them from a distance, and then the bass getting louder and the coupe getting louder, and they're coming. So dash inside, and then when I got bigger, I'm playing Jab, and that was it. Never stopped.
The question that I have is, so on Juve Morning, in all these different outskirts and parishes and stuff, are we seeing all these traditional characters coming out?
Yeah,
on Juve Morning?
You still have like, let's go back from scratch from Veko. If you're in St. Mark's is Veko land.
Yeah.
If you're talking Veko, you're talking St. Mark's. Sunset Revelers, these they're coming on Juve Morning. Yeah.
But is it the same thing where it's like that is their day to come out? Because you said Jab is daybreak on Juve Morning, or is it something where
they come on Juve Morning. Yeah.
Are they ever out at any other time?
Yeah. They're out. Carnival time, they're out. If you even like go off on these places, Victoria, if they again Spice Mass, normally they have a few bands that might be coming out on the road for the parade and whatnot. They still come out in the element. But if you want the traditional before dawn kind of time, and all the noise they make with the mouth, there's some, and they're dragging the old pan, and think that's some scary stuff. Big man like me, and I'm scared. So these are the things that we need to portray. And I think we could do it once we have a collective body with the sole purpose of promoting traditional mass in Grenada. I think because that is Grenada's niche market. Grenada's niche market is the traditional mass.
I agree.
The Jab, the Veko, the Shotney, the Wild Indian. This is what we have that people want. People, folks want the pristine stuff. We don't want the all-inclusive and the feathers and them thing. The other Caribbean islands, that's what they do.
Yeah.
We have indigenous stuff happening here. Niche market. Yeah.
Having this conversation with you made me realize that there's so many elements to the Jab that need to be present. So there's the Jab sound, there's the Jab look and the right horns. Like there's a certain level of authenticity that has to be there. It can't just be. So for example, when I was in Toronto, I was talking to this guy who's a mass man. He's like, he's like, gluing gems onto a bra is not making mass. That's not real mass. Just like gluing two whatever onto that's not,
You need to wire bend. And again, that in itself, I'm not a mass person per se for wire bending, but I know a few persons and your patrons, practitioners, and that's what they do. That's why, it's rough because before 19, well, not in 2019,
2019,
limited bands on the road, and I mean pretty mass band.
Mm-hmm.
When I say limited, I mean like under 5.
Mm-hmm.
Right now we have 15, 17, 19.
Spice Mass is only going to get bigger and bigger every year.
I know, and I'm happy for that because I'm happy for the globalization of the mass and whatnot. But I think, I mean, we need to just make sure that the authenticity of it is there. And I don't think it's a hard thing because this is us. Just put us on display.
And the thing is, when people come, when I was looking at, people who did come to Grenada for Spice Mass last year, I was seeing people here, they're filming themselves and posting on social media, having like emotional reactions when they're seeing, Juve Morning, people are dragging chains and stuff like that. I'm like, why are they crying? Like, I've never.
Oh, serious? They were crying.
Yeah, like I see people with tears because they said they just felt over. Like one girl that I know, she said like she didn't expect to cry, but like she just kind of started crying. She was trying to hold it back, but she said she started crying on the road because she was so overwhelmed because I guess they'd never experienced like a real obviously it's not the real,
well,
but like a taste
still,
of, but like a taste of like that traditional aspect and seeing all these things. And then, she said they were thinking about how we are, our ancestors were enslaved and then they're free. And this is how they show their resistance. And it's, deeper than just, some of the other types of mass that we see that are more commercialized, but still fantastic. I thought it was interesting to hear that they had such an emotional reaction to that. But knowing that, it's like, how do we push that further and make sure that that is like the main discourse when we talk about Grenada? We're not thinking about pretty mass. We're thinking about traditional mass only.
And again, that's why I put a lot of faith and a lot of expectations on the soon-to-be constructed Traditional Mass Association. We need that. Without that, we're doomed. Without that, we are doomed. We're going to have well, in my opinion, we're going to have a replay of this year.
So it's all about setting the right foundations and with all these different aspects, making sure that the culture can push forward in the right direction.
In the right direction.
With the proper and strong roots.
With the proper and strong roots, with the proper ambassadors, the proper players, the practitioners. They need to be present. These are the people with the nose, the skills, the knowledge, the know-how to. You can't just put on a short new uniform and go the road or get black and go the road, which we've seen.
Right.
And, when time to display the culture, you can't beat the pattern. You can't blow the shell pattern. You don't know how to spell. You don't know nothing about jab. So
Tell me about spelling.
Okay, spelling is a call and response. It's very poetic and is in a way of masking like community, regional, national events, current events, but you say it in such a way now that you ain't come out and say XYZ is XYZ. You get ABC, XYZ, and it's a rhythmatic call and response. Like for instance, just give you a universal one. I mean, not necessarily that's a particular chant, but like spell Chicago. A chick in the car and the car can go. So but no, you're gonna localize it to, like I say, whatever is happening in the community, political. A lot of political people get tied up in it. Current affairs, the jab speak about it, jab speak out against it. For instance, they had one for this year's Spice Mass, and that was for the jabs because we realized, okay, well, once again, you're promoting jab, but I mean, you aren't giving the jabs no incentive. I mean, you might call jab nation, jab pictures on your billboards and whatnot, but when time for the jab to reap benefits, nothing going on. There's no, I mean, you're showing up in national events. You're still treated as a sideshow, no respect. And again, that's sad, but there was a chant spelled Spice Mass. The greatest show on earth, with no place to go, jab, getting the blow, Spice Mass. It's just a call and response with in such a coded way that deals with current events.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that because one of the things that I did know is that a lot of the aspects of Carnival has to do with like socio-political commentary.
Correct.
Because I remember,
that's what it is.
Yeah, like I even remember sometimes seeing, I forget what they call it. I don't know, but it would be like they have the sheets on with the sign. Was it Old Mass? Yeah, like. And I just remember seeing all the commentary, but it's like you would have to understand the reference to know what they're saying.
Okay, so you see that? Jab verbalized that. So Jab say it in a particular pattern. Okay. So the same thing they have written, Jab will say it. So but they do it in a call and response. Cap spell Kiana, and they're gonna spell whatever they feel Kiana is.
I like that. I've never heard of that before.
Serious.
Never. And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things that, maybe here in Grenada, everybody knows. But when it comes to the diaspora, I don't know if maybe I should just speak for myself. But there's like a lot of these things we don't even know because we only see what the media, right?
Yeah.
So it's very important. And I know this is part of the work that you're doing to be very conscious of the media that's being shared.
Yeah.
So we're sharing the right things.
We're sharing the right thing. And
Right.
I don't think we're even close to that, you know. And again, getting back to the spelling is a potent ingredient of the job. The job needs, because like I said, I was telling you during setup that the job would use the Bible. You know, the same Bible that they were used to enslaved by. They're gonna. That's what I'm saying. How sick job is. Job. When I say sick, I mean like so like wow. This is like
deep.
this is deep stuff. You're using what they use against you to keep you down, to enslave you mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever, and you're coming back and use it. So you're gonna have the Bible cap spell and cap. When I say cap, it's short for capital.
Captain.
For capital.
Oh, capital.
The capital is the leader of the Jab band.
Okay.
Who leads the Jab band in song and procession.
Okay.
You know, that's the capital. So when they say cap, if you're terror kids out of capital or cap, skinny band and say cap or capital, that's what I'm saying, having pieces of the culture there.
There's so many little elements to this
understand
real job thing that I
to this
didn't know.
real job thing. So when if you're around me and like tomorrow, just check it out. When them guys see me or I see them, they're like, yo, Cap. You know, you're going to say, yeah, now, or Mr. White Man, you know. Like, yo, Cap, what going on, Cap? You know, so that's where that was said the culture has to be represented. So even having merchandising with shirts with capital and cap, you have to understand job. And that's how it's going to grow. That's how it's going to grow.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very right now is a beautiful time to be alive. It's a beautiful time for job, and a beautiful time for Grenadian culture. I mean, we just hope and pray that, you know, with the blessings of, you know, the Almighty and the powers that be, the national entities, you know, private people like yourself and just cultural enthusiasts around the world, we could really get a hard world momentum going, which I think we do have already, but in the right direction, because it's so slippery, because so much has been done to rid us of our roots and our heritage and our, just to strip us of power. If you have no culture, you have no roots, you have no future. You know, you just do stupid stuff. Your Juve is gonna just be alcohol-filled parties with scantily clad people getting dirty and wine and doing stupid stuff. And like, oh, that Juve the bad boy. No Juve ain't bad. There ain't no Juve there. You know, so it's cool. It's vibes.
I think this is just very interesting to me, and I'm sure for anyone who does listen, they'll be able to learn a lot from this. And if they want to take it further, you said there's a lot of post-colonial
books.
Okay.
And again, I'll post on the stories. I will let them post on the stories. I must big up the social media strategists for us, doing a great job as well.
Yes.
And it take a lot of work, and don't get twisted, you know, to verify some of these facts. Sometimes facts can't come out unless, you know, you really verify it. And what we've done, and again, it's something that we've proposed to a few of the entities which we are going to do next year, just before independence. We have Jambalasee's Jab Facts, which we've made multimedia, you know, visual and audio. We're going to go to schools with verified facts about jab, so the generation is going to have a authentic understanding of jab.
That deserves a whole standing ovation.
You know, so they ain't gonna be like 21 and thinking, okay, well, jab is a wine and dine, Juve, jamming hard, sandwiching. No.
This is the same sentiments that I was speaking about when I spoke on stage at the media launch for.
I saw that.
Right, where I said where like it's deeper than just wearing these, you know, feathered costumes and stuff. Of course, that's part of the culture.
It is.
But it's like there's a whole reason why we're here. And so we have to all know the reason why we're there. And then the mask has so much more meaning behind it, right?
Yeah. And again, the wire bending and them thing need to come back. You know, the real mask, different type of mask.
What are your thoughts on kind of like the commercialization of carnival and people having to, because there's so many people that want to play mask, you know, they have to get things done in China and all that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Not necessarily have. I mean, I do have thoughts on it. I mean, I'm 50-50 with it. I'm happy for the, you know, commercialization, the globalization of it. I think, you know, it's a step in the right direction. I mean, definitely you're going to have to pay some level of cost for globalization, commercialization. But to me, I don't know. It's like if there is no effort to stick to the, you know, I guess it could be based on numbers too. You have so many people wanting to play that you have no choice than to, get some mass produced stuff.
The thing that I think, and I think this is really the answer and the key for everything, is the more that we push the real facts, the education, and all these things, it's like, okay, when the people are coming to play mass, I feel like there should be like a certain expectation almost of like, hey, like here's why we do this, even if it's just a little pamphlet that goes
Yeah.
inside of your when you pick up your costume.
Nice.
It doesn't have to be some big, it's just kind of like, hey, there's actually a reason why we do this. Here's a little bit of a fact sheet, you could take it home, you could read it, you could do whatever you want with it, but we're making sure that and that we're letting you know what it is.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
These are my thoughts.
Yeah, because this year, well, I'm not a mass person, but we did some collaborative work with Vibes Mass and also another band. And what I realized, for the masquerade, one of the highlights of the whole process is going and collect your package. And your package would not only have your costume or your Monday wear, but you're going to have the goodies. And so a part of the goodies, you could have exactly what you just said, some information on what's taking place.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, even it's coming somewhere like Grenada where traditional mass is a big thing. It's like, okay, yes, this is your pretty mass costume, but did you know that we have a very big traditional mass as well?
Correct. Correct. That's that's an idea I think I'll pick you up on.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, when we sit here and we have these conversations on this podcast, there's just a lot of ideas that end up coming out naturally.
True.
And
that's why it's critical to have these things. And I can't wait for when you go out and you get to see the people, and they're gonna give you a whole different vibe, because the energy around them will be different too. They've been doing it as part as them, all the coat skin and whatnot, just the love and the vibe of just doing it. They ain't doing it to go and make money.
Yeah.
That's just what they do. It's like how you clean your house for Christmas. They get ready for Juve. They get ready for the jab. And there was Same House International had a song called Bacchanal Breeze. I mean, something happens around April, May when the atmosphere changes. You're getting ready for August. And again, it wasn't always in August. It was in May, and then it was in February. Different thing changes. That's why it's cool that it's kind of like back close to emancipation in Grenada in August carnival time. So I think just linking the jab, because a lot of people figure jab is carnival, jab is emancipation.
Okay.
That's why the festival is crucial. Jambalasee Festival is crucial. One of the main points of having a Jambalasee Festival is that it ought to happen every year on the 1st of August.
On Emancipation Day.
It must happen, no matter if emancipation fall Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It has to. Just like Christmas. But in Grenada, I'll get back to the Christmas comment just now. In Grenada, emancipation is celebrated on the first Monday of August, which I think is a slap in the face. Christmas is celebrated whenever
December
the 25th. Whenever you fall, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Emancipation is the first Monday. You crazy? Emancipation, I think, is bigger than Christmas. Because emancipation is so significant for our race of people, for my race of people, for my ancestors, that, Christmas is based on Christianity belief of Jesus Christ and birth and whatnot. So there are some places, there are some cultures, there are some races in the world that don't even resonate with 25th. If you're Muslim, if you're Hindu, if you're Buddha, if you're Rastafari, that day doesn't make a difference for you. So, I mean, we totally locked in, because so the same reverence given to Christmas have to be given to emancipation. It's critical. If that didn't happen, 1834, 1838, depending on which territory you're from, and when they go figure that, emancipation happened 1834, and you still have some people with the gall to still keep this thing running 4 years afterwards. Madness is this thing, crazy. So, but I think the new administration, I must say, on a nationalism, on an African Caribbeanism vibes, I've been hearing some talk that they want to make the
August
first. Yeah, August 1st is the date. So it's critical for us for the festival too. And again, the festival, the next thing I want to talk about, the festival gives us a national and international stage to showcase jab in its pure form.
The first one you're going to have is going to be August 1st, 2024.
We had the first one last year,
Okay.
August 1st, 2022.
2022.
Yeah,
Okay.
This year in 23, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or in November. Yeah, so we had it last year for the first, and it's in Grenville. I mean, because again, let me go back to that. So when you get to the history of Jab, when he comes, I mean, Jab is a Grenadian thing. When I say Grenada, I mean, national, played throughout Grenada. But you see St. Andrews and St. Patrick's, this is breeding ground for Jab.
Okay.
They have the highest number of villages per parish playing Jab.
Wow.
Yeah. That is their mass. The Jab is their mass. And you have other St. Mark's is Veco, and you have other Wild Indians and Davids and whatnot, and Shortney and then from Armitage up that side and thing. But when you see it come to Jab, I can rattle off about 10 communities that play Jab in St. Andrews alone.
Wow.
So you have the breeding grounds. Breeding grounds that Jab is up there, and also quarter of St. Patrick's. But St. Patrick's and St. Andrews is on the same borderline. One going to each other. So it's a landmass that they. So it being in St. Andrews is critical again, just for like being in the capital.
The authentic.
And the idea is to showcase indigenous Jab bands, community bands, to give them a stage to showcase Jab drum pattern, shell pattern, spellings, and paraphernalia.
Nice.
So it's like a some fest for Jab.
Yeah.
That is our vibe for it. Give them that stage, and to mix it with the music. The music has a history from 91 come up. So I mean, obviously we can't get all the songs, but the idea is to always showcase critical songs that help pave the way to where we are right now. Because you might,
I can already see the graphic.
Exactly.
There's like a year, a date, the song, and then the timeline, and then the next big song,
and the next big song. Because you might know a Skinny Banton, you might know a Talpur, you might know a Terra Kid, a Jab King, or whatnot. But I mean, Frisco Sprat had the place banging in the 90s with song like Jab. That was a massive tune, rhythm mix, massive tune.
You know what you guys should make? Another idea? Like a Spotify playlist or something called like Real Jab Sound or Jambalasee Sound.
Yeah. The Jab. We need to do that.
So
I'm taking all the ideas,
Take them. Listen, this is the place to make the ideas happen. So when we're trying to get into like, maybe like it's Juve morning or something, or the night before, and we're trying to get into the vibes, it's like, okay, I know I'm going to play this playlist to get myself into the zone. To get yourself
into the zone. And again, these songs will resonate with you in a way you might not even think, because of one, the rhythm, but two, also, the little elements I tell you that they have. So you go start connecting, and you go start asking, yo, okay, no, I understand. No, I get it. Just words like posies, like, like chain, like cap.
Oh, yes, like, there are words that you hear in the songs, but I had nothing to reference it to in my mind because I don't know what it is. I'm just hearing things.
Correct. So, and to also bring it together. Remember, it's culture. Culture is not only just music and whatnot.
Yeah.
So the food is critical. Any food you're gonna source in the Jambalasee Festival is going to be locally sourced from the sea or from the land, and it's going to be indigenous cuisine. So you're gonna have stuff like oil long. You're gonna have stuff like roast breadfruit and saltfish. Keep it the Grenadianism of the culture. So if you're coming in for the festival for Spice Mass and you want to stop the Jambalasee Festival, you get in a full Grenadianism. You get in to buy a helmet. You get in to see helmets made, drums made, conch shell made.
All authentic.
So you could buy the stuff for yourself. Give back to the cultural practitioners. Get the authentic stuff outside there and still link it properly. So in about 5 years to come, it could be one of the biggest immersive cultural festivals in the Caribbean. What we really want. So we really hope the national entities continue to work with us. We didn't have it physically this year. Well, myself, I was out for a bit health-wise. And when we got back into Green, we thought that the amount of time needed to execute such a next event, so we opted not to have a physical one. But what we did, we collaborated with Grenada Broadcasting Corporation and WPG10 to show the festival from last year. So it got to be shown on August 1st in Grenada in its entirety. So people at least, so the date stays relevant and the August 1st date keeps its relevance. So next year now, the inclusion next year is called Jab. It's called Jambalasee Festival Regional Jab Expo. And the idea that is we have already hooked up with the guys from Guadeloupe.
Yes.
Yeah, they're coming down
Wow.
to show, hey, yes, Jab is not Grenada alone. Wherever you once housed indigenous, enslaved African slaves, enslaved Africans, you're going to get facets of Jab. So they have a type of Jab called Negocio,
Yeah.
and Martinique has Neg Maroon. It's the same black, they're getting black. The difference is the music. That what tell the Grenada's music is different. It's faster. It's 3-in-1. So again, it's really showing the cultural integration. Call it distant relatives. So they get to experience our job, we get to experience. And the idea is for us to go up for the festival in January of February. I get the dates right. It's for us to experience job up there.
I might come and meet you guys.
And you need to come and meet us. It's
In Guadeloupe?
Guadeloupe.
I might Guadeloupe. I might come and meet you guys.
I'm telling you. So I'm pumped for this, and I just really want to learn and just to see the type of mask they have
And immerse
and really get it. Like, yo,
I seen they had some mask zombie or something like that, and I saw they had like wolf mask.
That's what I'm saying. They have some sick stuff.
Drum, and you could just see the energy on the road. You don't see no big truck. You just hear the drums.
They don't have no truck on the road.
Yeah,
they're beating. They have they had their own music. That was it. We had to get back to that.
When I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's my style.
That's your style. That's my style too. That's the Caribbean. That's Caribbeanism. So we line up, and according to Skinny Bant, and line up the Maroons from around the world. We coming together as one African unity.
Yeah. So where can people find you? Where can they stay connected with Jambalasee Grenada?
Definitely on all social media, but we have a very active presence on Instagram.
Okay.
And we're definitely on YouTube as well, Jambalasee Grenada. On X, I guess is Twitter. But yeah, Jambalasee GND. And also on Facebook, Jambalasee Grenada. And am I missing anything? Well, definitely you're going to find us on all your streaming platforms for our music. Music is critical for us as well. Like I said, the background and all this, we are from musical, lineage. And so Jambalasee Grenada and all on your Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, the whole works. But we did a few projects that was critical. In 19, we did Jambalasee Rule into our rhythm. We featured Skinny Bantan, Jab King, Talpuri, Lava Man, Terra Kid, to really put the iconic rhythm in a today's touch. We kind of left it old school with the tones and whatnot, but we had modern day superstars riding it, so to kind of help bridge the gap, between the young people, and the origin. Also, in 22. Last year we came out with the shell man rhythm, like I say, we sample. We do a lot of samplings, drum sampling, shell sampling, chant sampling, and we sampled in Grenville when they had the unsanctioned jewelry.
So that was the real mask.
That is a real mask. So yeah, we did a few sampling up there, and we had one of our series, shell man rhythm, featured Little Natty and Thunder. We also featured Terry Lands out of Trinidad to really bridge the gap, because she said, man, we watched you guys on the screen, and she like, we felt so happy. I was like, go Grenada, Grenada, you cannot be chained down.
Can't stop the job.
You can't stop the job. So, and again, this year we have 2 rhythms coming out again. We're gonna sample some shells. It's already the rhythm is already mixed, everything. We have we try to work with contemporary artists, and we have this year for the first time we're working with Temptress. She have a jab queen thing going on right now, and she's making a mark internationally, regionally. Skinny Bantan, I must say, Skinny Bantan is one of the realest ambassadors, jab wise. I mean, I've learned so much from him as well, and we learned so much from each other, because, I mean, if you listen to his lyrics of his jabs tunes, I mean, he says a lot of stuff, but if you're not entwined, you won't understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
Grand Marinage, Maroons, he tells you the story in it. If you listen to Jambalasee's song and his rendition on Jambalasee Rule, Never Done, if you listen to the lyrics of it, is jab.
Is he from one of these outskirt, like, country places too?
Skinny Bantan is from Carrico.
Okay.
You know, Marinos Grenada, Carrico, and Peter Macro.
Yeah.
So he's still is Grenadian,
Mhm.
but you know he's from. If you want to get specific, you know he's from Grenada. Carrico, and I remember he was one of the guys that really infiltrated the international soca scene. You know,
When I
with
say I fed up with on.
well that was I don't know that's a world classic.
Mm-hmm.
But you have Saltfish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he also has Frontier Duet.
Mm-hmm. He has a lot.
He has a lot. Black as ever.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of stuff, a lot of tunes. Lifetime to Banker, Ready to Chip. I mean, Skinny Button have the song he did also on one of our rhythms called Vibes Turn Up. I mean, but again, the knowledge he has is great, and to be able to pass on such a knowledge, I mean, that's a shining spot in terms of interviews, cultural ambassadors when they go out represent the flag. He could actually have a conversation. He could actually, you know, push some of the truths ahead versus some people say, "Oh, Jabby, you know, Jab is anything," you know. I mean, if you search,
just pushing things that are just not true.
if you search Jab on Google, I think the first thing you might get is that some dude fall along
Drain.
in a pot of molasses, you know. And I'm like, okay, so you think I'm gonna get up every Juvie morning and for this dude who fell in a pot of molasses? Seriously? You really think I'm gonna play Jab because of that?
Yeah.
You know, but again, that's what's out there. But Jab is a post-emancipation masquerade, and is a revolt, is a resistance, and is a mockery of a system that was meant to literally demolish an entire race of kings and queens. You know, I mean, we were kings and queens. Africa is the most resourceful continent in the world. I mean, it's just so much, and just the enslavement, not just physically but mentally, and it's still valid today. I mean, 2023, and we are still spending the queen's money. Right now, it's the king's money. You know, the queen still is still head of state, governor general. So a lot of things that need to be changed in terms of policy, in terms of the constitution, to get the stains of colonialism out, and all that will help. So in 50 years to come, 40 years to come, you know, our kids will have a better idea of self, and just the natural consciousness to be proud, you know, of your skin color, how you look, your hair, your nose, your lips, your eyes. All these things they demonize. They make you figure you need to have soft hair and small lips and shit. You're mad. You know, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. You know what I mean? So all that is in the fabric of how they keep you enslaved. And thank God Jab was able to, at least still in 23, you know, still be an active element. Although he might be kind of warped, but you know, hopefully we get him there, you know, on the right path. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to going and seeing, you know, these cultural practitioners in action.
They're waiting for you, because I told them about, you know, your movement and, you know, what it is. And they again, these are people who want the real thing go out as well. Yeah. You know, because we
have to push it.
Must push it. Is a must.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
for sharing all this information. I'm so excited to go back and watch this episode over and over. And I'm telling you, for real, like, have the pamphlet, make the playlist. All these things are so much stuff we can do online, you know?
Correct.
Maybe we'll even have a talk after. Maybe I'll talk. What's your social media manager's name again? Michaela?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll even have a chat together and see how we can strategize to help push it even more. But like, once you guys get the rhythm,
we have to use the platforms, because that's what they use.
Yeah.
And it's not by coincidence. It's right now is communications war. You know, everything they do is communication. Nobody go out and, you know, try to convince you. It shows up via the algorithm. You know, and they infiltrate your brains. So we have to use that now.
We have
for
to
the
get
job.
Jab in the algorithm.
Exactly. And tie them up. You know?
Thank you so much. This was so good.
You're welcome. My pleasure.